Fake to Algier. Ritter under pressure now throws. And we're down at 15. Ritter steps up, throws, nearly picked off.
Kyle Pitts is going to be right here, and it's a nice job by Cordell Flott coming off that.
It seems like the future is very unstable for Kyle Pitts, who was supposed to be a generational tight end, but is far away from reaching those heights with the Falcons. Ahead of the trade window, it seems like the team from Atlanta is ready to move ahead from the former 4th pick, and considering he is still to reach his prime, what can they receive back for him? Even more importantly, which teams are most interested in landing his services now that question marks have arisen regarding his stability? It doesn't need to be said multiple times. Kyle Pitts had the sky as the limit for his NFL career, but now that seems to be a utopian scenario with the Falcons. Even though he is just 24 years old, his time with the team that drafted him back in 2021 is getting close to an end, something that has been further fueled by the fact he started missing practice at OTAs. The question that needs to be answered is whether a team in the league would provide enough value to kind of put the Falcons in the right window when it comes to their expectations as to what type of player they are trading. Yes, Pitts is yet to reach his prime and has shown flashes of brilliance on multiple occasions, but the bad habits and the injury report are just too much to ignore. Raheem Morris wrote about this situation and offered an update on Pitts' status, saying that he won't participate in any practice because of the foot muscle strain. The Falcons are reportedly holding him out due to an abundance of caution, and when talking about it, Morris elaborated, "Extremely cautious with Kyle right now and what he's got going on. Obviously don't talk about injuries this time of year, but definitely be cautious with him so you won't see him. He's been here, he's done such a great job, he's been in every single thing that we've done other than the field, and he's been absolutely outstanding to be around." So what are the pros and cons for the Falcons if they decide to shop Pitts?
Rolling in Atlanta. Take a look at this. Last 4 weeks, Kyle Pitts is 9th in the NFL in receiving, not amongst tight ends, the entire NFL. Gronk, do you love that? He loves it. A tight end is top 10. We love that. He's caught just under 80% of his targets from Kirk over that span as well. He's been dominant, the matchup nightmare we all expected to see when the Falcons took him 4th overall a few years ago. And I feel like this whole Falcons offensive breakout is the perfect case study in how much the quarterback situation matters.
For starters, they are getting something back for him. If they decide to keep him this season, which they fully can, he will enter free agency next year and he will be able to leave for literally nothing. But the Falcons have seemingly set the bar very high when it comes to listening to offers for Pitts, primarily because of the unbruised diamond they are viewing him to be. The reports coming from the Falcons are loud and clear, a day 2 draft pick or better in exchange for the services of Pitts. Again, it's highly unlikely that any team is going to offer this type of deal because of the ups and downs that Kyle has gone through in his career, including all of his injuries that date back to his rookie season in 2021. But if there is a team that would definitely make an offer for Pitts, it's definitely the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are loaded up with draft capital in 2026, including multiple day 2 picks. What this means is they are ready to tempt Atlanta into parting ways with their diamond. And despite having Dallas Goedert in their roster, Pitts is still perceived as a high priority trade target. However, when you have a player of Pitts' caliber available, he will draw a lot of attention from other teams as well. Another high profile team that has been heavily related to Kyle Pitts is the Jaguars. The 2025 season holds a lot of challenges for them, starting with a new coach in Liam Cohen and the expectations that have been mounted on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. The Jaguars do have a good history. They made the AFC divisional round back in 2022 and began the 2023 season with a score of 8-3, but now they need to redeem themselves back to where they once were, which is why Pitts is seen as a top-notch player that needs to be added to the roster sooner rather than later. The problem with the Jaguars is that they gave up a plethora of valuable picks, including the second rounders in 2025 and 2026 to move from number 5 to number 2 in the 2025 NFL draft and pick Hunter. However, they've also acquired 2 2026 third rounders from the Lions in a day 2 trade and have a combined 4 picks in the first 3 rounds of the 2026 draft. In a hypothetical scenario, Jacksonville could still see themselves acquiring the services of Pitts and still have at least a pair of day 2 picks next year. What type of problem will they be solving with the arrival of Pitts? It's obvious that Engram is going to go down as the tight end of the team, and while he will still remain on the team as Lawrence's go-to when he has to get rid of the ball in a split second, it's still a downgrade to what role he currently plays with the Jaguars. If these two do not make a compelling case for Pitts, rest assured that the Jets will hop in the fight for the tight end of the Falcons. They are currently in the Aaron Glenn era and potentially the Fields era as well. If they want the Fields era to be something more than a one-time stand, they definitely need to chase the services of Pitts and pair them up. The Jets moved on from Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams and have lost the starting tight end Tyler Conklin in free agency. Furthermore, they have been quite disappointed to see the stats of Malachi Corley, who had just 3 receptions in his rookie season. As currently constructed, the Jets have one player in their passing game that scares the defenses, Garrett Wilson. Pitts would give Fields a very dynamic player to lean on, and he will definitely fill the void that was created by the departure of Conklin at the tight end position. It's clear as the sky that the Jets need offensive linchpins, and if they take a chance on Pitts, they are most definitely going to be working on a long-term partnership to both sides' benefit. So what is another team that could make a successful pursuit for Kyle Pitts' signature? I guess we need to talk about the Packers as well. Yes, I know what your first thought is. Why would they chase a starting tight end in this deadline when they have Tucker Kraft at that position right now? But if you reshape your offense in a new dimension, something that Pitts would definitely do, then the team will try and climb on the standard that the Lions and the Vikings currently are in the NFC North. In the previous draft, the Packers selected Matthew Golden and Savion Williams, but the team is highly unlikely to be satisfied with these two's receiving abilities. They haven't had a player at any position total 1,000 receiving yards since Davante Adams back in 2021. And this is definitely where Pitts would be a massive aid. He will give the Packers a deadly option down the seam who can line up in multiple spots, providing the squad with another young player with upside. So if this trade were to happen, the Packers would definitely send one of their young wide receivers, Daubs or Wicks, and a late round pick to the Falcons if they choose to refrain from dealing a future second round pick. What this will do is stabilize the wide receiver room of the Packers in relation to its tight end room, but still, this might not be worth it for the Falcons, a team that is highly likely to prioritize value draft compensation rather than players who are already in the league. With all this in mind, what do you think about Kyle Pitts' potential trade scenarios, and more importantly, where do you think he'll land in the upcoming period? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen right now.